Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Cricket World Cup Experience. I'm your host Harvey Bhogal, and in this episode we're going to be reviewing that first semi-final between India and New Zealand. Now, many people would have expected India to win this match, maybe slightly unfairly to New Zealand, but New Zealand had lost their last 3 group stage matches. So the way that New Zealand, after being so down and behind in this game, came back, quite frankly, it was a stunning upset and shocked many people. So the match was played over 2 days. It originally was supposed to be on Tuesday. Rain halted play, which meant that the game was postponed and then continued on Wednesday, where it was finished. So when rain stopped play on the first day, New Zealand were 211 for 5, and quite frankly, they just looked out of the match. With the 23 remaining balls that they had left on the next day, they added another 28. Now, it seems like a long time ago now, so I feel like everyone's probably forgotten, but India had a brilliant performance with the ball. So it started off with Jasprit Bumrah and Bhuvneshwar Kumar working very well in tandem with that new ball. Okay, Bumrah took that first early wicket of Guptill, who's had an awful World Cup with the bat so far. Obviously that changed later in this match with his fielding, which left New Zealand 1 for 1. He finished his bowling spell 1 for 39 off 10 overs. And throughout this World Cup, he's been absolutely fantastic with the new ball and the old ball. He's bowled those incredible Yorkers, been very economical considering where he's bowling as well. And rightly probably considered one of the best in the world. Bhuvi had a great game. He finished 3 for 43 off 10 overs. So like I said, India probably expected to win. They were chasing 240. New Zealand had scored quite quickly in their short spell of batting on that second day. However, things didn't quite go to plan. So Rohit Sharma, before this match, he'd been the leading run scorer at the tournament. He'd scored 500s. He edged behind off the bowling of Henry for 1 run. Then Captain Fantastic Virat Kohli trapped LBW by Bolt for 1 run. Henry struck again. KL Rahul edged behind to wicketkeeper Tom Latham for 1 run. A bit of a theme there. India were 5 for 3. Neesham pulled off an incredible one-handed catch to dismiss Dinesh Karthik. That left India 24 for 4. Then India kind of started to get going. So Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya both made 32. But both fell to the same trap. They couldn't resist going for that big shot. Okay, so they were blocking the balls that need to be blocked. They were leaving the balls that need to be left. But then the balls that could have been hit, they went for the heave. They got caught out. So that then set up this next chapter of the match with Ravindra Jadeja and MS Dhoni being at the crease, and they produced that excellent 116-run partnership. So, even on the forums here on the Cricket World Cup Experience, many Indian fans have been saying Jadeja needs to be in the team. Jadeja needs to be in the team. He hadn't been a regular so far on this India side, but he had a massive impact in this match. Okay, so he bowled very economically for 1 for 34 off 10 overs. Okay, bowled very well. His fielding also was really important. It always has been to this team, because it was his run out of Ross Taylor and then him catching out Tom Latham on the boundary, which really brought a halt to New Zealand's run scoring in this innings. And then with the bat, he came very close to taking India to that final. His batting was excellent. He had some brilliant clean hitting. He showed aggression, conviction and purpose that was really lacking in the rest of that Indian innings. He's a player who's got very good fitness, and that meant that he was able to really run down those singles and 2s and 3s really quickly between those stumps without a risk of being run out. So eventually he celebrated his half century of 39 balls with his trademark samurai sword strokes. And apparently some people say he was looking up at the commentary box for Sanjay Manjrekar, who had said or had called him a bits and pieces cricketer. Now, while he and Dhoni were there, the crowd believed. Okay, you sensed it in the crowd, which had been so quiet, very pro-India crowd. You sensed that they had a chance, and you also sensed it in New Zealand's bowlers and fielders. They looked nervous. They were making mistakes. They were starting to bowl less accurate lines and lengths. So India looked like they were going to do this. But when the crunch time came, India needed 37 runs from the final 18 balls, and he mistimed a shot from Trent Boult, which went high in the air. Williamson kept a cool head, watched it carefully, he took the catch, and that ended not only Jadeja's innings, but that partnership between him and Dhoni, and probably India's World Cup hopes. There's probably still one last chance. It was that master, Dhoni, the master of the run chase, the Iceman. He was still there at the end. Many people thought maybe he'd taken too long to settle in and get his runs. He knew now he really had to go for it. So in the 48th over, the first ball, a short ball, he cut an exquisite cut shot over deep point for 6. Absolutely marvellous shot. Almost came out of nowhere, surprised everybody. The crowd went absolutely ecstatic. The problem is that 2 balls later, he was run out in such incredible fashion by Martin Guptill, who quite frankly has had an awful World Cup. This put the final nail in the coffin for India's chances of winning this match and winning the World Cup. So, India lost, but their fans were amazing. Okay, going into that reserve day, this match could have been played in front of an empty stadium, but still the loyal Indian fans turned out in great numbers and made it a special occasion on that second day. Now, did the Indians take the New Zealanders lightly? So maybe the Indian fans, the media, and maybe some of the jingoistic circles in Indian society did. However, anybody who knows cricket knows that they shouldn't have. India paid the price for their soft underbelly in their middle order. They've been very reliant on their top order, and the top 3 in India's order have scored a big proportion of India's runs at this tournament. With those 3 dismissed for 5 runs, it really exposed India's middle order, which just hasn't been firing so far this World Cup. Now, did Dhoni leave it too late? Did he put too much pressure on Jadeja? I think on this occasion it is difficult to criticise Dhoni, okay? He's been a master of the run chase. His statistics in this are just quite remarkable. I don't think any other batsman in the history of cricket will have these statistics in run chases. Also, it's like his computer in his head, his calculator. You know, he always knows how many runs he's going to need. However, if there is one criticism of Dhoni, it's that maybe he should have come up higher in the innings. Okay, he likes to nerdle around at the start of the innings, and he likes to take a long time to settle in. And sometimes it might take him a while to get used to the wicket and get used to kind of freeing his arms and hitting those big shots. India probably could have done with him steadying the ship earlier when the cards and the dominoes were really starting to collapse. And it could have maybe been a different game had he come in earlier, maybe after 3 or 4 wickets had fallen. So Kohli said afterwards that it was 45 minutes of bad cricket that cost us. And I'll probably have to say that he's right. India have had such a brilliant tournament so far. They really have played like champions. The only real blips they've had were against Afghanistan, which they could have lost that match, and England, where they were thoroughly and convincingly beaten. However, even in matches where they didn't play that well, like a champion side, they found a way to win. However, champion sides win competitions. When it counted here, they didn't get the job done. People might, if they're being very critical, say this is another occasion where that's happened, where they might be looking previously at the 2017 ICC Champions Trophy final. I don't know how India reflect on this. I think Kohli's tried to be quite philosophical. He said, we would have liked to win, we've played a really good tournament, but you know, New Zealand deserved it on this day. He's been quite magnanimous and gracious about this. The rain certainly didn't help India in this situation. There might be many people, especially in the subcontinent, will be complaining about the effect that the rain has had on this tournament. However, in this match, it looks like the team that dealt better with the uncertain circumstances that were brought into the match were the ones that won. Now, from New Zealand's bowlers, this has to be one of the best bowling performances of this World Cup. Boult swung the ball, okay, just like he normally does with his left arm over. Matt Henry was fast and accurate. Okay, Lockie Ferguson is fast and scary. Santner, he strangled the Indians in those middle overs. From his first 6 overs, he got 2 wickets and had only gone for 7 runs. Okay, and then those bowlers were backed up by a brilliant performance by the fielders. But ultimately, for me, it came down to Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor. Okay, New Zealand were really down in the dumps when those two came into bat. People were criticising Williamson and Taylor for scoring too slowly, and everyone thought, well, what are they doing? New Zealand are never going to win this match. They've got to push on. They need to try and score faster and faster. But they, very cool, calm, intelligent heads, they read this pitch and this game better than anybody else. They realised, obviously, they must have had this conversation when they were in the middle, that we're just going to stay calm, stay in, play our game, and we only need 240, 250, and that'll be enough to win. Okay, and our bowlers can defend that. And ultimately, they were right. So, New Zealand thoroughly deserved to win this. You'd have to say thoroughly deserved to be in the final. Before those 3 losses and that kind of major blip they've had at this tournament, New Zealand were top of the table and they were consistently winning matches, whether they played poorly or badly. To now revive their competition the way they've done this. And you have to think, if you compare the resources between India and New Zealand's a very small country where cricket's not the number 1 sport, and yet they're still producing talent and they really maximise the potential that they have as best as they can. So, New Zealand won this match and go into the final on Sunday. In the next episode, episode 7, we'll be reviewing the second semi-final between England and Australia. Until then, bye for now.